Hello, everyone, and welcome to the MetsLife show. I am your host, Rashid McDonald, and this is the Subway Series preview. It's time. It's come. It's here. It's early, but I will tell you this. They are ready. Both sides are ready. Both sides are playing great baseball right now. Mets in first place. Yankees in first place. There's not a lot we can say wrong, but there are a few things that they can do better, and we all know that. But first, we're going to start off with the pitching matchups, and for Friday night, tonight, we have Tylor Megill going up against Carlos Rodon. Now, for Tylor Megill, he's sitting at a 3.10 ERA. He is 3-3 on the season, looking for his fourth win of the year. And he's been a lot better than I expected him to be at this point. By the time the season ended last year, I thought that Tylor Megill was destined to be in the bullpen. And by all intents and purposes, the Mets thought that too. Because they went out there and they signed Frankie Montas, they signed Griffin Canning, and they still have Paul Blackburn around there somewhere. I know he's still alive, has a pulse in him. But we did not know where Tylor Megill was going to fit into this. And just like cockroaches, he doesn't go away. And that's a good thing. That's a great thing to have when someone can be available as he has been available. Because his thing hasn't been the inability to be available. His thing has been the inability to be consistent, especially after a strong start, right? The month of April has always been good to him. But as he gets on to May and June, things just start to snowball on him. Well, this year, he's looking to prevent that. His last start wasn't his best, gave up a few runs. The Mets still were able to win that game. But I will say this. Tylor Megill is pitching a whole lot different than he has in the past. 52 strikeouts, which leads the Mets. The Mets have the best ERA in all of baseball. And when you look at their numbers with opponent's batting average, giving up the fewest home runs, allowing the fewest runs, the Mets pitching has been number one, A1 in all of Major League Baseball this year. And he is one of the reasons why. So that's going to be a good one. He's going to be taking on Carlos Rodon, who is also looking to just prove that he is better than he has been, right? The ERA is at the mid threes, but he has been better as of late. And we're going to be talking to our guest here, Derek, from the Pinstripe Territory podcast, and he's going to kind of give us a little bit more insight into Carlos Rodon and how he's been over the last few starts. But he gets the ball on Friday against Tylor Megill. We'll take a look at the rest of the rotation, how it's set up for both sides. We have Griffin Canning going up against Clark Schmidt on Saturday, and for Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN National Broadcast, we have David Peterson going up against Max Fried, who I'm going to keep it a buck with you. The best pitcher in the American League is Max Fried. Not the same Max Fried that we've seen in years past with the Braves. This is a different kind of guy. The moment Garrett Cole went down, things changed. We're going to get into him also a little bit later with Derek, but right now, when you look at the Yankees and their offense, they're being carried by the one and only, the honorable Aaron Judge and Trent Grisham. Now, the Mets have seen Trent Grisham dominate them before, postseason 2022. We'll never forget that. But he's hot right now. And, it has a lot of Yankee fans, putting up side by sides with him and Soto. And it's a good, fun thing for now. But that takes away from the whole conversation. It takes away from Grisham. It takes away from Soto. And I think that's not fair to either side. I feel like Trent Grisham is playing the best right now that he's ever played in his career. And he's getting that, playing time. And listen, this is a guy who was an afterthought. Like, hey, we're giving the rookie a shot. We just signed Cody Bellinger. I mean, this guy's going to get maybe once a week or whatever. But nah, different kind of man is Trent Grisham right now. Red hot, white hot is Trent Grisham. The lineup is looking deep, even without Juan Soto. And I'm not even going to sit here and lie to you. That would be, malpractice if I sit here and I lie about how the Yankees look. Listen, if Austin Wells can continue to just supply some power and supply what he can offensively, man, that makes the lineup more dangerous. I don't know what's wrong with Jazz Chisholm, if he's injured or not. But the infield has just been flux right now. They suffered a big injury. I believe it was on Monday, to their third baseman, Cabrera, who shattered his ankle. It was facing the other way. And it was a brutal injury. Tough for him. Send my well wishes to him, because you never want to see that from anybody, or anybody go through something like that. So that's tough. Tough luck for him. But on the Mets side, Brett Beatty's back. And boy, I'm telling you, man, this is the reason why I was advocating for Jeff McNeil to be that super utility guy. For reasons like this, you got to let the youngins cook. You got to let them cook, man, because there's value there in what they could bring. And listen, people going to want what you got. And the Mets are probably going to want some pitching. They're going to probably want some bullpen help. You can never have enough. We're going to talk about all that a little bit more with Derek, as he will be joining the show very, very soon. It's the Subway Series, so you already know the vibes. It's going to be hype. The city is going to be electric. The Knicks are looking to eliminate the Boston Celtics. That's in the NBA. They're going to be in town. Madison Square Garden is going to be rocking. Yankee Stadium is going to be electrified with Juan Soto getting boos rained on him. They're going to probably call him every name in the book under the sun. Anywhere you can find it, they're going to give it to him, and he's expecting that. And when it comes to Juan Soto, man, he gets up for these moments. You've seen it. So I'm looking for Juan Soto to have a big series. We're going to get Derek on the podcast right after this. And we're also going to give you guys my 3 keys to victory after that conversation. So keep it locked. MetsLife Show. Welcome back to the MetsLife Show. It's the Subway Series, and I'm excited for this one. We have a very special guest, and this has been a long time coming. This is kind of like a full circle moment for me, but we have Derek Levandowski of the Pinstripe Territory podcast and a part of the Foul Territory Network, and it's great to have you. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great, man. I'm ready to hand the Mets a butt whooping this weekend.
Okay. I like that. I love the energy, bringing the energy early, which is good, which is great. So let's get to the first cuts here. All right. So Juan Soto is the $765 million elephant in the room. So let's just start right there. The reception for Juan Soto. What are we feeling? What are we thinking?
So, it's funny because if Juan Soto had left to go to any other team and come back in the same manner for this, for over money, it would be universal boos. But because the game is in New York, right, you're going to have Mets fans in the building. So I think it's going to be mixed. I think there will be some boos. I think there will be some cheers. I think there will be whole swaths of Mets fans with banners like "We love Soto." And I think there will be Yankees fans that are trying to start chants that are maybe a little bit unsafe for the airwaves, shall we say. But I think it's going to be a mixed reception. And either way, I think Juan Soto is a great player. I loved his time with the Yankees. I'm glad to see that he's starting to turn it on for the Mets, because the game is better when Juan Soto is at his best.
Absolutely. And here's the part that I'm looking for. I'm looking for Juan Soto to show up big time. I feel like he knows it. We all know it. This is one of those games, this series that's been circled on the calendar for a while now. And this is one of those where he's going to get up for it. I don't know how it was when he was with the Yankees and how he got up for against the Red Sox. But one series that I remember in particular when he was going back and forth with his now teammate Jose Siri in a series against the Rays where they were just launching home runs back and forth and pimping them. So what do you think Juan Soto's energy is going to be like?
Oh, if I'm Juan Soto, I'm trying to win every game, every at bat, every pitch. I mean, that's the type of guy he is, right? And I expect if Juan Soto hits an extremely long home run into the bleachers, he will have the same reaction he always does, which is he'll admire it and take his time. I don't think he's going to do anything to intentionally antagonize the Yankees fans. I think he generally liked his time with the Yankees. I don't think that he left the Yankees because he hated the Yankees or disliked the fans or disliked the stadium or anything.
Correct.
I think he got an offer for more money, and his agent recommended that he take more money. I mean, because it would, look, if I'm getting paid a percentage of whatever the guy gets, right? Let's say an extra $5 million and I get 10% of that. Of course, I'm going to advise him to take that. Look, he's a great player. I expect him to do big things in this series if the Yankees pitch to him. And if not, Pete Alonso is still somebody we got to deal with. And so is Francisco Lindor. I told my audience, look, temper your expectations. This Mets team is more than Soto. They're really good. And I think it's going to be a war. I think it's going to feel a lot like a playoff series. Don't you think?
I do. I absolutely agree with that assessment. I would like to call it's going to be a bloodbath in a way where the fans are going to be rowdy. The players are going to be into it. This is not going to be a series where it's just going to be like a regular season type of game atmosphere. It's going to be raucous. So let's look ahead to Game 3. In Game 3 for the Yankees is Max Fried. Now, when the Yankees signed Max Fried to a multi-year deal, the expectation was that he was going to be the number 2 to Garrett Cole's number 1. But Garrett Cole got hurt. Now he's getting Tommy John surgery. And Max Fried is just an absolute beast. How different has his expectation been for you? And how has he been in them pinstripes?
It's hard to say because I didn't get a chance to watch Max Fried pitch much with the Braves. He's not in our division, so I only saw him when he, was on TV and I happened to be watching, or when he would pitch against the Yankees, which I can't remember him doing, honestly. But I knew the guy was a gamer. Everything I heard about him was that he was a bulldog, and he has lived up to that. I didn't think he would be 6-0 with a 1.11 ERA at this point, nor did I expect him to be the number 1 guy in the rotation. But I'm glad that he stepped up. He looks comfortable. His last time out against the Mariners struggled a lot with the breaking ball. It was hanging. He was not as sharp as we've seen him. So I'll be anxious to see if he turns it back on, and if he gets back to that form he had a couple of starts ago, or if that was the beginning of him maybe going through a period like all pitchers have where you're not as sharp. That sometimes can show up with things like, just not being as sharp one outing, and then it gets rough for a couple of starts, and then you get it together. So, I mean, he's been unbelievable, and I expect him on Sunday night in front of the nationally televised crowd and in such a big game with the biggest playoff vibes that you're going to have during a regular season game. I expect him to show up and really deal.
You made some great points there. One of the stats that I want to bring up is over the last 5 games, we're talking about an 0.75 or 7.8 ERA, which is absolutely ridiculous. So Max Fried is someone that the Mets and Met fans are going to really watch closely. And we've watched them over the years, but we've never seen him this good. So for the Met fans who think that this is going to be same old Max Fried, temper those expectations because he's bringing it. It's a different kind of character that he has when he put on those pinstripes. So I expect him to bring it. Now, speaking about people who have just been surprising and shocking, Trent Grisham. Who is this man? Who is this Trent Grisham that we're seeing right now?
Well, that's quickly becoming the Trent Grisham trade, right? I mean, the guy's been incredible. I don't know if if he tweaked something mechanically. I know MLB Network did a little piece about how he's changed his hand position, but he's hitting with confidence. It's been sustainable. He's hitting to all parts of the ballpark. He's shown power to dead center. He hit a couple of home runs to center field with the Mariners, and you see him right there. That's a second deck shot. He's been unbelievable. And further, he's great in center field. Like, he's a tremendous center fielder. So, I mean, what this guy's doing is unbelievable. I didn't expect it. It's created a little bit of a logjam where they've had to take some at bats away from guys like Jason Dominguez and like Cody Bellinger. And, unfortunately, that's just part of the business. You got to go with a hot hand. But it seems like every time they sit one of those guys, Grisham hits 1 or 2 home runs or gets 3 hits or makes a great play. So I'm not going to complain. At the end of the day, it's whether or not the team wins. It's the name on the front of the jersey, right? It's the uniform that we root for, the laundry. But he's been unbelievable. He's been a revelation. All-star.
You brought up a great point about a logjam. Giancarlo Stanton is on his way back. How is that going to look when he does return?
Oof, that's a great question. I mean, I'm getting the same question from Yankees fans who comment on my channel, who call in. And I really don't know. I wish I could tell you. The Yankees haven't tipped their hand on that. You can't take Ben Rice out of the lineup. The guy is just too good. He has slumped a little bit lately. I think for about the last 10 games, he's hitting 200, but he did hit a grand slam mixed in there. He had a big double the other day in Seattle. So his hard contact rate remains pretty much steady as elite in the league. And the launch angle when he connects is incredible. He's short to the ball. I was talking to our friend Todd Frazier about him. And I said, Todd, you've seen him up close as somebody who understands professional hitting, who's seen a lot of professional hitters, a lot of good hitters, a lot of bad hitters, a lot of rookies come up and, have short stints where they're okay or where they're great or where they're bad. What's your evaluation? And he said, Derek, this guy's short to the ball. His swing is real. Like, it doesn't have any kind of loops or hiccups in it. Now, Stanton, we saw what he did in the postseason. Obviously, he was the ALCS MVP. He's got some of the best power in baseball still, so some of the best bat speed in baseball still. Can't play the outfield, though, so you can't put him out there. He's got a DH, and that's where Ben Rice has been. I think the Yankees will still give a lot of at-bats to Giancarlo Stanton at the DH position, but they're going to find at-bats for Rice elsewhere. They'll pick their spots where he catches. They'll pick their spots where he plays first base and gives Paul Goldschmidt a day off. They'll pick their spots where he DHs. They'll pick their spots where he pinch hits, where he just stays ready. But I expect him to still play 4 or 5 times a week. I expect Giancarlo to play 3 or 4 times a week. This is why the manager gets paid so much money, right? I mean, you've got to figure this out. It's not. I'm glad it's not my job.
Right. And that situation is so relatable because the Mets, they're kind of going through that right now with Brett Beatty coming back since getting called up from the minor leagues and having an absolute, like, he's on a tear right now, about 4 or 5 home runs in his last couple of games, which is crazy, right? He has 5 home runs in the season. He hit like 4 of them over the last week or so, and he has just been on fire. And it's one of those things where the logjam is deep. So definitely can relate to that when it comes to position players. And it's a good situation to have.
I would love to have him. If you guys have too many third basemen, we just lost Oswaldo Cabrera, and I've been saying for a while now, Brett Beatty's got a swing that is built for Yankee Stadium. Now, we are a little bit too left-handed heavy, but I'll deal with that. That kid's got a great swing. He's going to be a great player. Mark my words.
Yes. And I 100% agree with that. Brett Beatty is actually one of my players to watch for this series just for that reason alone. Like, his swing and, his at-bats have been better. So I'm definitely going to look out for him. Y'all should watch out for Brett Beatty in this series. Let's switch it up to Aaron Judge, man. This guy is an absolute machine, robot, whatever you want to call him, man. It's like we ran out of words for Shohei Ohtani because of what he's done, and it's just like unbelievable. How do you compare what Aaron Judge is doing right now to anything like that?
I've never seen anything like it. I've been watching baseball since about 1987, and I've watched maybe, I'd say, 99.5% of Yankees games since about 1992. I've maybe missed a dozen or so. And I've never seen anything like this with the Yankees. I've never seen, A-Rod back in 2007 had an April where he hit about 400 with 14 home runs. That was the hottest I'd ever seen any player get. Judge does that about once a season now. And it's unbelievable where he has a month where he hits 15 home runs and hits 400. And so far this year, he's hitting, I think, 412, and he's got 15 home runs already in a little over a month and a half.
Yep.
I mean, like you said, we run out of superlatives. He's just one of the greats. I mean, you have to consider him one of the all-time greats if he keeps this up. I think he's going to probably get to 500 home runs with the Yankees, maybe even 600. I think he's got a real chance of hitting about 370, 380 this year with 50 to 60 home runs, which, I mean, just think about that. If you were doing that in a video game, right? Let's say you were playing Road to the Show,
Right.
and your character hit 372 with 65 home runs and 150 RBIs and won a Gold Glove in the outfield. You'd say, maybe I should turn the difficulty up. You know, that's maybe baseball needs to turn the difficulty up on here. Make him hit left-handed.
Right. And I'm hearing that the Yankees have one of those left-handed Aaron Judges coming up in their minor league system. But it is, you're right, man. I mean, we've run out of words to even, say when it comes to Aaron Judge, and it just gets more impressive by the moment. And he's made me eat my words, because coming into this season, I did say he was the best player in baseball, and I still stand by that. But I did have Juan Soto as the best pure hitter in baseball. But what Aaron Judge is doing is absolutely out of this world. Now, let's take a little bit of a Mets angle to this, right? You mentioned Francisco Lindor and Pete Alonso, and that is 100% correct. These are two guys who have pretty much had success, lots of good success against the Yankees. What are you seeing from them? What do you expect from them? And what do you think the Mets are going to bring to the table?
Lindor's historically been a Yankees killer back to his days in Cleveland. Pete Alonso, I can't remember him crushing the Yankees too much. Like, I don't feel like he's ever really been a Yankee. I don't have his stats in front of me,
Right.
but I feel like they can handle him. He's off to a good start, but I don't. He just doesn't scare me as much as somebody like Lindor does. Generally, at Yankee Stadium, anybody who hits left-handed is somebody you got to worry about. So like you said, Brett Beatty really bothers me right now. Obviously, Mark Vientos played well against the Yankees last year. He's somebody who could be under the radar. Now he hits right-handed and so forth. But obviously, power to all fields. Really good player. I'm excited to watch him. I like watching young talent. I really like a lot of your Mets players. I haven't seen Canning pitch, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. And then who's pitching on Sunday? Did you find
on Sunday? It's going to be David. So it's going to be David Peterson on Sunday.
Okay.
Tyler McGill is going to be pitching for the Mets tomorrow, and Griffin Canning is going on Saturday. And the funny thing about McGill has the most strikeouts amongst the men's starters, right, at 52, which is surprising. This is one of those revelation type of seasons for McGill. David Peterson is picking up where he left off last year, and Griffin Canning is on a Linsanity or Sean Manaea type of run for the New York Mets right now, and it's unbelievable. And it because he pitched for the Angels for a while, right? But he was traded to the Braves, and the Braves just said no, thank you, right? And the Mets picked him up, and now he's just become this. He's going for his 6th win, and yeah. So Griffin Canning is somebody definitely that I'm going to be keyed on, because I want to see how he does against this Yankee team who is high-powered as far as putting runs on the board.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him. Carlos Rodon, who's pitching Friday night,
Yes,
has very quietly been pitching great. I mean, he has figured it out with the Yankees. His first year with the Yankees, I'm sure you heard, was not great. He was kind of the talk of the city of, oh man, what a bum. He got a little bit better last year. He had some great stretches. And then this year he's been phenomenal after kind of a slow start. He's pitching a little bit differently. Pitch mix has been more balanced, more sinkers, more changeups, and the strikeouts have been phenomenal. Hey, look, I don't think anybody's going to complain about 3 pitchers duels. Look, we all want to see Soto and Judge play home run derby this weekend, right? And
Right.
Let the chips fall where they may. if those guys combine for 7 home runs this weekend, like that's going to be so much fun, right?
Of course.
6 for Judge, 1 for Soto, whatever, But no, but look, it's going to be great. I can't wait to see this series. Tell me this. What are your thoughts on Pete Alonso's resurgence? Because he's never been a guy who hit for a very high average, but I look up, he's hitting 300 this year with
He
all this
is.
power. Is he playing better because he's got Soto on base more, and it's like they got to pitch to him because you don't want to walk 2 guys in a row, or you don't want to put a guy in scoring position? Is he just getting better pitches to hit? I felt like last year Soto made everybody around him better. Like
Right.
the guys in front of him and the guys behind him. Judge hit better behind him because you couldn't walk Judge because you had Soto there.
Right.
And the guys in front of him got pitches to hit, whether it was Anthony Volpe for the first part of the season or whoever's at the bottom of the lineup towards the end of the season. Look, I think Soto makes everybody around him better. Is that the effect that he's having on Pete Alonso, you think?
I think so. And experts would tell you maybe not. This is just Pete Alonso really just, probably figured something out. They pointed out that he's used a different bat. That's not so different, but it's kind of like different from a torpedo bat. It's kind of a little bit like it has more barrel, but it looks like shaved at the top. So it's a weird bat, but it's a new bat. They pointed that out, but I truly think that it is the Juan Soto effect. I think Lindor has benefited from that because since he's been a Met, Lindor has never had as good as a start to a season as as he's having now, and neither has Pete Alonso. So I do think, in some way, it is Juan Soto. I also believe that Juan Soto did make everybody who was around him better with the Yankees. I was one of those who said that, Aaron Judge, and it sounds weird, but I said Aaron Judge had the season he had last year because Soto was hitting in front of him. And I know people are like, well, what, 2 years before that, he hit 62 home runs. But it wasn't just about the home runs for Judge. I feel like it was a lot more that Judge did in the regular season last year. And it was because Juan Soto was in front of him. But we're seeing that now with Pete Alonso.
Yeah, it definitely helped. Soto really does have that effect on the lineup. Look, you're looking at a generational talent. I mean, for real. I mean, both teams have one of the best hitters we'll probably see in our lifetimes as a fan. So, wins or losses aside this weekend, it should be fun to watch 2 great athletes in their prime going up against each other in games that really matter, that have a ton of fan interest. Can I just ask you one more thing? What do you think about the Knicks? You think the Knicks are going to take, because they're playing the same night as do you think a lot of people are going to split their attention, or are they going to, like, if you had, are you going to watch the Knicks, or are you going to watch are you going to have 2?
Yeah, I'm
gonna have 2
multi-devices. Yeah, full ADHD to the max. It's going to be multiple devices, watching the Knicks, watching the Yankees and the Mets. But that's the great thing about this city. When teams are good, this city is buzzing.
Well, when I was a kid, you only had one TV in the house, really, that you could access. My parents had a TV in their bedroom, and occasionally they'd let us, if my brother was watching something and I really wanted to watch the Yankee game or something, I'd get to go in there or whatever. But if my mom was watching Roseanne or something, or my dad was watching Star Trek, hey, I was just SOL. But nowadays, these kids, they can have, their iPad up with the basketball game on, the baseball game on the TV. And if you want, you pull up the laptop, play a little music, maybe chat with your friends. I mean, how lucky do you guys have it? Come on.
Right, man. It is a wonderful thing to have. And it's going to be great. The city is going to be buzzing on Friday. I'm pretty sure they're going to have the score on the scoreboard, and, Yankee Stadium is going to go crazy if the Knicks, close out the Boston Celtics, because one thing I could say about New York is that they don't like Boston, right? Just as much as they don't like Philly. So,
dude,
it's
we're
good
agreeing. We're simpatico there, my friend. Simpatico.
Yes, of course. Now, before I get your keys to victory, I just want to ask, who's your star to watch for this game?
Well, I mean, it's hard to say anybody other than Aaron Judge. He's been red hot. We talked about him, but Trent Grisham has been blistering hot. Keep an eye out for Jason Dominguez. He's obviously been a little bit up and down as a rookie, but he's been swinging the bat better lately. He hit 3 home runs in a game last Friday. And if you watch him, you see he's somebody who kind of has a slow heartbeat. You know what I mean? he's relaxed, right? He kind of has that feel of somebody who would be clutch. And it would not shock me if he has a big series.
All right. I love the fact that you mentioned him because we haven't talked about him just yet, but that 3 home run game was something that really caught my attention because I've been waiting for Jason Dominguez just to hear something of him because he's very highly touted, has a lot of hype behind him, and the fact that he had that game hopefully really, sets him on that track because contrary to popular belief, I do want a Subway Series. I feel like it would be so good for baseball to have a Subway Series, and the fact that we were so close last year.
And good for our YouTube channels, my friend.
Yes.
Good for our YouTube channels.
yes. The watch-alongs and all that are going to be popping if these two teams go on a deep October run, just like it was last year. All right, so Derek, give me your 3 keys to victories for the Yankees.
Well, one, the bullpen has got to be better. The bullpen has not been good lately. Devin Williams has already lost the closer role. He's pitched better recently. I think in 8 of his last 9 games, he hasn't, or no, not that many. Maybe it's 5 out of the last 6 games. He hasn't allowed a run. Luke Weaver's been great in the closer role. He shut down the Mariners yesterday. So the bullpen has got to be strong. Obviously, you're only as strong as your next day's starting pitcher, right? So, Rodon, Schmidt, Fried, those are the 3 guys that are the best pitchers in our rotation right now. If they give us 3 solid starts, then hey, I think we'll be okay. The last thing is that we can't run ourselves out of innings. We can't, drop fly balls. We can't have a repeat of the things that hurt this Yankees team last year, the fundamental misplays. Clean baseball. The Mets are a really good team. They're in first place for a reason.
Right.
And it's going to take A+ baseball to beat them.
All right. Thank you so much, Derek, for stopping by on the podcast. This was a great conversation to have, and definitely gonna see you around. Let the people know where we could find you, so like that we could get this community popping.
Sir, Pinstripe Territory. We're on YouTube. And by the way, you got a great show here. I love your setup. The production is top notch. I mean, this looks great. Camera's great. All this stuff. You're good at this, so keep it up. I feel like there's a lack of in the same way that there's a million Yankees channels, there's a couple of Mets channels. There's not as many. There's room for more. There's room for a new Titan, and I think you could be that guy. So keep going, keep charging. But yeah, you can find me at Pinstripe Derek on X, and Pin Territory Pod is my account for my podcast on X, and obviously Pinstripe Territory on YouTube. You can also find me just kind of, out and around.
All right. So thank you so much for stopping by the channel, and we'll definitely catch you guys on the next series preview. Thank you so much, Derek, for stopping by. I appreciate you, man, for that.
No problem, man. I'll catch you guys later.
Don't forget to check out everything from the Pinstripe Territory podcast. All their merch, all their stuff. It's there. It's available. Thank you to Derek for stopping by on the show. So we're going to get to the 3 keys to victory for the New York Mets. Number 1 for me is Brett Baty. You've heard me talk about him with Derek, and I truly think that Brett Baty is going to have a very good series. He's going to surprise some people because he's going to get pitches to hit. That was the one thing that he struggled with. I don't think he thought he was going to see as many pitches as he saw early in the count, really pounding the zone, and he's adjusted to that. So he's going to get pitches to hit. Just like Vientos got pitches to hit last year and he, took advantage of that. He's doing the same thing. Anytime someone can come up and hit about 3 to 4 home runs in a week span, that's big. And his batting average has also, talk the talk when it comes to that, right? I think he's back up to 250. So that's good for Brett Baty right there, man. That's good to see. And I love that. Luis Angel Acuna, you could throw him into that mix for another key because of the simple fact that how he turns over the lineup to Lindor, Soto, and Alonso is going to be very crucial, very important. And the final key to victory is going to be their pitching because that's what they're bringing to the table right now. Offensively, they need to find ways to get that runner from scoring position in and not let that moment get too big for them. But I think the pitching, the starting pitching, if they don't let that moment being on that mound, where if you pitch to contact, the ball is going to just fly out of that stadium. If they just play their game, I think they should be good, right? Because when it comes to this series, I'm saying it, and I'm going to say it now. Accept fate when it comes to one Aaron Judge. Accept your fate. So that means if he's hitting it out the park, don't even look back to try to get that ball. Don't even think about it. Turn back, get another ball, rub it out, back on the mound. Because if you let that get to you, you're done. And I think the manager is a real big piece of that. You saw it last year, the way he managed that and maneuvered that with Aaron Judge. I expect him to do that. He has to put his players in a position to be successful, and it's up to the players to capitalize on those situations. So those are my keys to victory for the New York Mets. We're going to see what this looks like at the end of the series, and I'll come back to you guys on Monday for Mets Recap at noon. We're going to recap this Subway Series. We're going to get all 3 games in there for you. We're going to try to get that nice and easy. And then we're back on the reporting trail. Dodgers and Mets is going to be next weekend. The Mets right now on a big stretch. They're facing the Yankees, then they go to Boston, then they got the Dodgers coming into town. So real big time right now for the Mets to just stay within themselves, play with the way they need to and the way they're supposed to and the way they have, and I think they'll be fine. You already know the vibes. You can find a podcast wherever you get your podcast. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, follow on TikTok where we go live. Everywhere you have social media, look for MetsLife. You're going to find us because there's no one like us. You already know. I am Rashid McDonald. This is the MetsLife Show and your Subway Series preview. And you know when it comes to the Mets, it's always for life, baby. Ya tu sabe.